way more intimidating. And that's not even the craziest part. The Dark rework has already been confirmed by Admin E, which means we're not just getting one massive change, we're potentially getting multiple game-changing reworks in a single update. Imagine a completely revamped Dark Fruit with new abilities, effects, and maybe even a new form. Right. So basically, humans, there are no official leaks for the 4th C yet. However, I think we can actually consider this one a soft leak. And that's because it came directly from Admin Uzoth. In this image right here, we can clearly see the entire map layout, showing the 1st C, 2nd C, and 3rd C. And what makes this interesting is how accurate everything looks. The positioning, the scale, and the structure all match what we already know about the current Cs. But if you look closely on this side of the image, you'll notice something very important. There's a massive island, and when I say massive, I mean this thing is as big as multiple 1st C islands combined. This immediately raises questions because there is no existing C event that is even close to this size. This island is way too big to be something like a raid zone or a temporary event. I mean, this thing literally looks like an entire sea by itself, and that's why I strongly believe this could be the 4th sea. Another reason why this makes sense is the server limit. There are only 12 players per server, so creating an island this large just for an event wouldn't make sense at all. Events are meant to be fast, replayable, and compact, not something that takes up this much space on the map. Now, personally, I think if this really is the 4th C, it's going to be heavily inspired by Wano. We could see islands that are very close to each other, unique environments, and a more connected world compared to the older Cs. Of course, it won't be a direct copy, since we already know Blox Fruits has been slowly drifting away from One Piece to avoid potential issues. But the inspiration could still be there. So now I want to know what you think. Do you believe this image is teasing the 4th C? Or do you think it's just a massive event island, even though honestly, that doesn't really make sense? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And on top of all that, don't forget about the creation rework, which has literally been sitting in the admin panel for ages now. It's been there for so long that it feels like they've been secretly preparing something huge behind the scenes. So right now, we're looking at a possible update filled with reworks, new transformations, and massive power upgrades. But here's the problem. We still have absolutely no idea when they're actually planning to release it, which makes this even more exciting and mysterious at the same time. And as I mentioned, a lot of updates to expect, that also includes the new 4th C. So at this point, it really comes down to two possibilities. Either this new C is almost ready to be released, or it's still deep in development and will take a lot more time to fully finish. However, considering the fact that the developers, or more specifically the admins, already showed an image of it, that alone tells us something important. You don't usually reveal something this big unless it's either close to completion or at least stable enough to tease. This image could mean that the 4th C is already mostly done, and they're just polishing it, adding details, and testing everything behind the scenes. On the other hand, it could also be a preview build, something they created specifically to let the community know, yes, this is real, and yes, it's coming, even if it's not ready yet. Right now, the image only shows red, mountain-like terrain, which suggests that what we're seeing is either a base environment or just one section of the entire sea. That makes me believe there's a lot more that hasn't been revealed yet. Different islands, unique biomes, new locations, and possibly entirely new mechanics tied to this sea. When the update gets closer, I personally think we're going to receive a full cinematic trailer for the 4th C. Something long, detailed, and dramatic, showing every major island, the atmosphere, the scale, and maybe even some hidden features. If this really is the biggest update in Blox Fruits history, then a long cinematic trailer would make perfect sense. So once again, if the 4th C is actually close to being finished, we could realistically see it drop within the next few months. But if it's still in heavy development, then we might be looking at another long wait, just like before. At this point, it's honestly impossible to say for sure. One thing is certain though, even while we wait for the 4th C, we're not going to be left with nothing. We can still expect multiple major updates along the way, including Creation version 2 and other features we talked about earlier. So no matter what, Blox Fruits in 2026 is shaping up to be huge. Anyways, humans, that's pretty much it for today's 4th C video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe with notifications on for more Blox Fruits updates, theories, and future leaks. Thank you so much for watching, humans, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.